Force tired.
The Force is what gives the Jedi his power.
Why is the Force connecting us?
I am a Jedi. Always two there are.
We're a dyad in the Force.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Force Diet Podcast, a Star Wars show covering the latest and greatest, from the core worlds to the outer rim. If Star Wars is your space, we are your place. We are honored that you've joined us. I'm your host, Obi Sean, and joining me tonight is my best bud, co-host with the most, Jedi John. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. How we doing?
Doing great. Coming off, Star Wars weekend, right? With May the 4th, Revenge of the 5th and 6th, and some Phantom Menace action. So you and I both got to see the Phantom Menace on Friday. Was it as good as you remember it?
Phantom Menace. It was good. It was good what I saw. It was good.
It was. I always forget how much they added with the kind of this, not even a special edition. It's just, first of all, I miss that horrid puppet. For as ugly as Yoda was, having the CGI Yoda is like, I'd rather have the puppet. I don't know about you.
I don't let that kind of stuff bother me very much, to be honest.
But did you like the puppet? Yes or no? Or do you prefer CGI
Well, yes,
Yoda?
yes, of course I enjoyed the puppet. Who doesn't like the puppet Yoda? Come on. I mean, come on.
But I think I remember you were saying something about, like, during the pod race scene, the blending, and I'm going to use air quotes, the blending of the practical effects and the CGI within the same scene. Like, some of it is well done, and some of it is definitely showing that it was late 90s CGI.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's very noticeable with the pods, for sure.
Yes. So that was Friday, and then you had Toyman on Sunday, right? How did that go?
Yeah. Toyman show on Sunday. It was, it went pretty excellent. I mean, we had a big crowd out there on Cinco de Mayo, Revenge of the 5th, whichever one you want to go with. Yeah, big crowd, lots of people. I sold a ton of stuff, mostly because I think I was, you could have called it a fire sale for some of the items on my table. But I got rid of 2.5 boxes of stuff, which always makes me incredibly happy when I'm coming home. A couple boxes lighter than when I went with, so I'll take it. And yeah, had a good time.
Were you able to get rid of a good chunk of your pops at your, buy two get one free type thing, or 2 for $15 deal, or whatever it is you decided to do?
Yeah, I ran a 2 for $10 on like a portion of them. There was a section of the wall that was just, all those are 2 for $10. And people were like, "Are you serious? 2 for?" I'm like, "Yes, please, just take 2 of them. Please.
Please take them away.
I will take a $10 bill. You can take 2 of those things over there." But yeah, I had a lot of fun, and I mean, I still had some big purchases like I normally do, but I did blow through a lot of product that I needed to get rid of. So, looking forward to the next show in July where I get to do the same thing again until I'm at a comfortable spot in my toy room where I can walk in freely and sit down without, almost tripping over anything.
You can leave the pole vault at the door. You don't have to pole vault over anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And shout out to Kyle. Kyle came down by my table. Haven't seen him in a while, so it's good to sit and chat with him. But yeah, it was a good time. Saw a lot of friendly faces that I haven't seen at the show in a little while, so it was a good time.
That's good. And then the other thing that came out over the weekend, right, was Tales of the Empire, which you texted tonight and said you're not prepped for. Does that mean you haven't watched any of it, or?
I've not had time to watch any of it. We've unfortunately had a long 10 days, we'll call it, with some unfortunate loss in the community around me. So haven't had a ton of time without the kids or anything else going on. And honestly, we're getting to the point where if I don't have the kids and I'm not doing anything else, I'm going to bed. So I just kind of emotionally exhausted over the last few week and a half or so. So
right. Well, The good news is that, the episodes themselves are only like 12 minutes long. So
Oh wow.
when you
Yeah.
do get to it, you'll be done in about an hour and a half. So so we'll have to chat about that on a future episode. Yeah, so that's good. I didn't do a whole lot the rest of the weekend other than watch Tales of the Empire. I did read the entire Phase 1 comic run for the High Republic in preparation for a show that I was actually on last night with the Pod Awakens. We talked the Phase 1 comics. They're doing a run-up to the Acolyte, so it's a whole bunch of High Republic chatter. And so I joined Jordan from the Pod Awakens yesterday to talk High Republic comics. So that was fun. Because I don't have anyone to talk High Republic with, John.
Huh.
John.
If only there was somebody that you could do that with.
So, but no, that was good. And then I know you said you haven't been able to watch a whole lot of TV, but I have been engrossed with the new Fallout show on Amazon Prime. It is, if you're looking for something that's like, well, obviously not Star Wars, and outside kind of that traditional realm, it is really well done. And I never played the games, so I was kind of coming into it blind, like I knew of the concept, right? But I was unfamiliar, I never played the games. So
I have an old like the collectible Fallout 3 tin lunchbox.
of course you do. Of course you do.
It's somewhere on. It's still sealed too. I'd love to sell it to somebody that's really into that.
Does
Maybe
it just say?
price went
Does
up.
it say Vault-Tec? Vault-Tec on the lunchbox? Oh, cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool lunchbox, but yeah, it's still sealed. The game's still inside. I mean, everything. It's I had a different copy that I played. So but yeah, I imagine that price went. I should probably go look at that.
That's probably worth something now.
Yeah, it probably went up again with the show being announced. The only thing I've actually watched recently is, I'm actually still behind on X-Men 97. I'm one episode behind on that. Excellent show. If you haven't had time to watch that yet, I'd say if you enjoyed the Saturday morning cartoons back when you were a kid, this is a cartoon made for absolutely adults that enjoyed that cartoon in X-Men. So pretty cool there. And then I had to watch part of the roast of Tom Brady because I just wanted to see all the atrocious things that were going to be said about him. And, some of the comedians did not hold back, and I appreciate that. So I've only watched about 30 minutes of the entire thing, but it's like 3 hours long, so I'm not probably ever going to finish it. But it's funny.
That's on Netflix now, right?
It is. It was, live on Netflix over the weekend, I guess, and then I caught it at some point on Monday or something that I'm like, I'll watch part of it, see how it is. It's good enough to continue watching potentially.
There you go. Yeah, Full Swing has my attention on Netflix right now.
Full Swing.
Season 2.
Very good.
So, but yeah, so sounds like we both had a decent Star Wars themed weekend. And of course, our main topic of discussion tonight is going to be the season/series finale of the Bad Batch, right? Which we were gifted a week ago, and I think we should just kind of dive into that. So we got episode 14 and 15. We're not going to cover episode 14 because, as John so eloquently put it before we started recording, it is the worst. It's got to be the dullest penultimate episode ever. Not worst. Worst isn't the right word, but
yeah, I don't think it was poorly made. I think it was just not the most action.
Yeah, it was
not the most anything.
Right. It was purely to put the pieces in place for episode 15. So
yes,
Omega, finds a way to escape up through the hatch. She finds the Zillo Beast. Okay, that's how we're getting out. The Bad Batch lands in the jungle, right? And, totes Rampart along. Wrecker gets attacked, so now he's injured. Rampart gets captured. End scene. Like that is...
I did want to make the call out that you said oh, Batcher's gonna come in handy,
Yeah.
and they didn't bring him. That's
But Record did mention her and said we should have brought Batcher, and I was like, you should have, because I called that, and you have once again made me the fool. But yeah, no Batcher. So we can talk about it on the series wrap up, but Batcher was like useless. So like there was no point for Batcher other than the MacGuffin for episode 3 or 4, whatever that was. So that's episode 14. I didn't even check the IMDb ratings on it. I don't know if it's even worth doing. Let's see. Hold on. I'll tab here real quick.
I mean, if it's over a 7.5,
it is.
I'm gonna be
It's actually no, it is not. It is actually ranked higher. It has a higher rating than the Juggernaut episode where they stole the. What did they do in that episode? Well, maybe that's why it's a 7.6. Yeah, it was 7.7. It actually scored higher than the Swamp Justice episode with Fennec Shand and stuff. So, wow. Okay, yeah. Apparently people liked it. So good for.
Like I said, it wasn't a bad episode. It was just not a whole lot happened.
Yeah. So
it set up.
It did. It was a good setup episode. So episode 15, Cavalry's Arrived. I mean, everything happened in this episode, right? The showdown on Tantus, which we all knew was coming, didn't go necessarily how we thought it would pan out. Not necessarily.
Pretty much at all.
Yeah, it was maybe the complete opposite, which we'll talk about. But, I mean, you get interactions pretty much with every primary and secondary character outside of, like, Fennec, outside of the bounty hunters in this episode, right? You've got Hemlock and Rampart being all, imperially with each other, and then Rampart and Nalase get to, Nalase gets the last laugh with Rampart.
Final say?
Oh, ooh, nice. The final say. Well done. You've been saving. You were like, I'm gonna drop this somewhere.
It actually just came to me, but I was like, I'm definitely saying it now.
Perfect. And then we kind of get a glimpse into what Hemlock's working on with the pods, with like the shadow Bad Batch, if you will. And then the showdown on the landing pad with Hemlock and the crew, and then you got the Zillow Beast going bananas, which is pretty cool actually, and then the prologue, which I did not expect. Or I guess it's not a prologue. I guess that's more of a
It's almost like a.
I guess it's a prologue. It's kind of like a prologue, flash forward prologue, as opposed to like a prequel prologue. So, let's just do reactions, and then we'll see where the conversation takes us. So you watched it. What'd you think?
I think I sent you the message that said I can't wait to talk about it.
You did, yes.
I've had a few days to ponder and think. I was pleased with the episode, but I was disappointed overall. And I was disappointed because I was emotionally prepared for the episode, and I didn't get the payoff that I was thinking was going to happen. And we got a very happy ending, obviously, which in the back of my mind, I've said it a million times, it's a kid's show. I expected certain things not to happen because of it's a kid's show. But I really, really thought we were going to lose at least one or two members. And I'm a little disappointed they didn't have the I think I sent you guys the Major League no marbles guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have no marbles.
Marbles. And
Marbles.
So that's just kind of how I felt. I felt like they shied away from it, even though it should have been. I think in my mind it should have been how it ended, was at least one or two of the Bad Batch members meeting their demise. I fully expected Omega and at least one of them to walk away, if not two of them to walk away, including Echo and that 2 out of the 4-man team. So, I mean, other than that, I really enjoyed the episode. Zillow Beast, awesome doing Zillow Beast stuff. and then the Shadow Troopers coming out like that. Those were some good action sequences. Not sure how one of our friends didn't meet their demise against them. They seemed like they were heavily outmatched. So I think that's just the thing for me. I think that I don't know how they wrote it in a way that nobody bit the dust, so to speak, when the ships were stacked against them heavily. So
Yeah, and they teased it at multiple points. Obviously, like the initial showdown with the Shadow clones, or whatever they're actually called. I mean, they get wrecked. Like, get wrecked. I mean, when Wrecker gets stabbed in the chest with the electrostaff, I was like, okay, yeah, he's donezo, right? And Crosshair gets his hand cut off.
which is after they cut his hand off, I'm like, why'd they leave him alive? This makes no sense. Like, there is no reason to leave this guy alive.
Well, I mean, think about it for him, right? It's almost torturous for a soldier whose sole job, right? Because I think Crosshair was starting to come around, right? But he's still, like, that's his identity, is a shooter. And to take his firing hand, which I almost feel like I need to go back and watch that scene on the landing platform, because does he use Hunter's shoulder to steady the shot and then shoot with his left hand?
He used his new nub.
He used his
New
stump?
nub was, yeah, because they put the stump on in the chamber. Because why wouldn't you help a prisoner that you just maimed? So he used his little stump. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's got the stump, and then he's shooting left-handed, in that last scene, and it's
Still
like
a great shot. Still a great shot.
I mean, that's why he's amazing. But I agree. I was prepared to have characters die, and not the ones that actually did. Although it doesn't surprise me that Rampart came back just to get blown up. Although and it's so fitting, of course, that it is Nala Se who gets to do it. I mean, that was the most, like, poetic thing, because of course, he's the one who makes the call to destroy Tapoka City, and blew up all of the stuff there, right? That all of the cloning technology there, so the Empire could have it, and so Nala Se gets to blow up all of this stuff so that nobody has it. And so I loved how that was written.
Scourge was pointless. Glad he fell off the bridge and just done.
Again, like, people, we talked about this obviously leading up to it. I did not expect the cavalry to be the clones that they free from the cells, so to speak, even though most of them are just cannon fodder. And in understanding that phrase is what's said by Wrecker the first time we meet the batch, I guess, again, being cyclical, they were the cavalry, right? Even though they're severely, hampered at that point. But I mean, and so I didn't really have that emotional feeling, if you will, until the prologue scene. And then that's actually when I got emotional. Seeing the Elder Omega with Hunter, and him finally, the dad sending his kid off to college, sort of thing, right? It's that similar feeling, and I'm like, okay, yep, this is where it was always the kid thing, like always the parent-kid things that seemed to get me in this show, and that was no different. So I enjoyed it, but actually I liked it quite a bit. And I do think that it was a perfect culmination story. It was just not how I saw it drawn up. I wonder if they had different...
But they killed Tech.
Of course. The one
Look.
the one guy. The one, my character, they killed him off. Which, again, and I think that part too, like where she jumps in the ship and Tech's goggles are right there. I'm just like, my boy. You're always with her, right? But I wonder if the writers, if they had multiple paths for the characters, and this was, and like, I don't, and like, not that you would screen this, right? Like you might a movie or something like that, right, with a couple different endings. But I wonder if there was a path where there's a total destruction, and then the path we got, and everyone's like, you know what, we could probably do with some happiness.
Yeah, I imagine that there was a lot of discussion in that writers' room among the top execs and how they wanted to finish the story, and they probably had drafts of all of them, obviously none of them, one or two of them, one of them, but a different one each time. Like, I'm sure they had all of those stories and plot points written out in some aspect, but they ultimately went with happy ending all around, which I can't say. Like I said, I can't say I was not pleased with the show. Like, it was a excellent finale. I just was prepared for other things that I expected to happen that I didn't get the cry that I needed. I was ready to cry, and I didn't get to because I wasn't sad. So,
Yeah, that's the thing. My sadness, or it wasn't even sad. My tears were happy tears, right? Like, it was that happiness after the fact, right? And that they had laid the groundwork for Hunter to be the one to send her off.
Yep.
And so, kind of looking at the episode a bit more granularly, we kind of talked about Rampart and Nalase already. I loved a little bit at the end where Tarkin's there surveying the scene and
pillaging anything valuable.
They're like, all right, we lost all of this. All of the data's gone. Which, how do you not have any of this backed up anywhere? Like, there's no cloud computing in a galaxy far, far away. There's no backup servers or anything like that.
We talked about the same thing on Scarif with like how many plans were on Scarif that's the one that's the one copy, or maybe it's not the singular copy on Scarif, I guess, for things. Maybe there's other, but that is a hub of plans. I just don't know why you would make one singular hub for all plans and then destroy the base.
Well, and to have a project that, in Hemlock's eyes, is so important to the Emperor that it makes him indispensable, right? And there's no backup plan. There's no safety net. It's the most Empire thing to do, because you're so, it goes back to Andor's thing about them being so fat and happy and stupid and full of this hubris that no one and nothing could ever thwart them in their quest for greatness. And
they thought they hit it so well that no one would ever get there.
Right. And so I just love that he's on the landing platform and he's like, all right, take all the money that was going to this, money pit and put it in Project Stardust. And you're like, all right, cool. There's the Death Star reference, which probably kickstarts it, like gets it off the ground, right? Because we're only like a year and a half-ish post Order 66. So it probably was waiting for some funding. And, oh, hey, what do you know? It's
got to be longer than that past, don't you think?
Oh yeah, maybe like 3 or 4 years. I mean, we're probably less than 5, I would think. But I don't think we ever actually know for sure. But what were like some highlights for you from the episode?
I think the big one was the Shadow Troopers. Just seeing what they could do. Like, those were incredibly skilled troopers. I'm glad that they weren't online earlier, because we would have had bigger issues throughout the series if they had been. So, they were intense and incredibly skilled. So, like we said, like the first matchup with the Batch, like they got destroyed. And it's just insane. Now, granted, Wrecker was not 100%, but I'm not sure Wrecker would have really added to that fight a whole lot if he was 100%.
Yeah, the hand-to-hand. So, I kind of called him the Shadow Bad Batch, right? But it would seem that the conditioning was more torture as opposed to gene manipulation, right? To the way that the Bad Batch were, you know, sort of mutated, not mutated, but you know, they had the abnormalities. You know, Hemlock references or mentions it when Crosshair's back in the pod, and it was like, you resisted this once before. Let's see if you have the strength to do it again, or something like that, whatever it was. And so it's really just shock therapy to get them. So I don't know how that gives them superpowers, like super fighting strength, but it was almost like they had a dark version of Clone Force 99 minus tech. So that was cool. I liked, one of the things that I enjoyed about it, because it was just kind of simple and kind of silly, was the fact that Dr. Skalder was purely introduced to get taken down by the droid, and then having the kids escape pinned on her. Like, that was the only reason she was introduced, was to be this really mean, harsh character that kind of, I guess, drove Emery kind of down the path that she ended up going, where she ends up helping Echo find the vault and everything like that. Which was nice to see Emery do what I actually thought she was going to do in episode 3 when Omega was escaping. I thought Emery was going to help, but it took her a little while to come around, but she finally did. So that was nice to see. But that the kids were able to, jam the pick. Omega jams the pick, rewires the droid. Droid sedates the doctor, so they can escape.
And speaking of the kids escaping, just like as usual, toddlers fall asleep at the weirdest times.
Yes. When it's really loud, it's like, now he sleeps.
This puts him to sleep. This.
Every parent with young children laughed at that, and undoubtedly, because as we talked about on the last episode, it's like, how are they going to get the baby out? And of course, they demonstrate that, but of course, the baby crying at the most inopportune time as well, right? Whether that's, on an airplane, right? In church, right? Or when you're escaping and you're trying to let loose the Zillo Beast. I mean, these 3 things are the worst times for a child to cry.
Worst times for a child to cry. Yep.
So
can't believe it happened.
It's surprising. So yeah, it was a really enjoyable episode. Obviously, again, didn't go how either of us expected, other than the fact that Tantus got lit up. Again, not how I expected that to happen, but
yeah, nope.
The Empire is set back on their clone work, which we knew had to happen because of how little progress they make in the 20 odd years until we see
the next 20 years.
Yep. So
probably 30.
Yep. And so so that stuff sort of worked out, and yeah, having Omega join the rebellion at the very end was, I think, perfect. Like that made perfect sense for her character.
Perfect sense, and Filoni has his character ready for a spinoff.
I saw something. I'm gonna guess it was on Twitter. Might have been on Instagram about if they need somebody for Rangers of the New Republic, although I don't know that. I mean, it could work. It'd
be tough to pull off. It'd be tough.
Well, depending on where in the rebellion, like that time was, like, is it peak rebellion? Are we post? Are we post A New Hope, or are we just before A New Hope? Where is she joining the rebellion?
I imagine it's post New Hope, probably even during Empire, about to lead up to Return, because she mentioned how the Rebel Alliance really needs pilots. Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, the Rebel Alliance is a known faction versus way back when, like Rebels, for instance, like Hera's crew were running amok. It was very early on, and it was during a time when the Empire was barely recognizing a threat of rebellion. They just thought it was random pockets of stuff still, similar to Andor, where the Empire was just like, there's nothing connected here. Just deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always rebel cells, not the Rebel Alliance. So knowing that she used the term Rebel Alliance meant that it's a full-blown thing, so it's got to be post New Hope, I would think.
So then she could, theoretically, depending on how quickly she ascends, you're only talking, at most 9 years till, the Mandalorian takes place, right? So,
Yep.
For season 1 anyways. And presuming she makes some sort of meteoric rise through the ranks, I mean, she could certainly still be around to pilot in the early stages of the New Republic. So they could do it, assuming they still want to do that show. Who knows? But of course, that's meant to be live action, and that opens up a whole who plays Elder, older, whatever, older Omega, right?
Who plays Omega?
So for the episode, what would you rate it? What rating would you give it?
I find it difficult not to give it a 9. So probably give it like a 9.1.
Yeah.
Pretty strong. Like I said, I enjoyed the episode. I wanted more out of it. I wanted different out of it, but at the same time, I still enjoyed it, and it wrapped up what you expected it to wrap up. So
yeah, and you get the happy ending, and you get the completion of the stories, and all the loose ends more or less get tied up, and you can feel satisfied in a complete tale. And so yeah, 9.1 sounds good. Sounds great, actually. I would also give it over a 9. The IMDb overlords have rated it a 9.2 out of 10 with 2,500 ratings, which actually is the highest number of ratings for any episode this year. It is also, of course, the highest rated episode of the year. If you look back, actually, over the course of this season, not a ton of super high rated episodes. You got 2 8.6s, and then an 8.5, and everything else is like an 8 or high 7. So not super strong from a ratings perspective. Not that any of that matters.
I mean, everybody on IMDb are like full-blown critics. So
let's see. There are 36 user reviews. I'm not going to, of course, read any of these. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 7, 2, 10, 10, 10, 9, 10, 10.
Can you summarize the
Okay,
two?
well, let's go back to the 2, because what the heck? All right, so the title, it reads, "What does Star Wars even do anymore?" Let's see. Dave Filoni was on such a roll, ROLE, and not ROLL. So we can already just throw this opinion out the window, because
This person was probably voice texting. Their phone didn't realize what they were trying to say.
Let's see. Bad Batch is consistent with Darth Filoni's new religion. Nonsensical, zero big picture payoffs. A plot that disappears like Yoda in a Dagobah swamp. It says, it appears Star Wars' primary utility these days is producing pointless laser battles. Like a billion-dollar corporation has vertically integrated the production of pointless laser battles. Laser swords, laser guns, laser cannons, and opposing forces. They can think it up, manufacture, and distribute. Yeah.
So this guy hasn't really said anything about the episode.
No, they said they get Necromancer as the precursor to the worst idea Kathleen Kennedy has ever had. Except that, again, cloning, and that came, oh God, that came so far before Disney ever took control of Lucasfilm, but that's whatever. Anyways, and then it says, I get Omega went off to be a pilot in the rebellion, but we go from childhood to leaving the nest in 6 minutes of screen time.
That's how a fast forward works. That's how it.
But we've talked for years now about her about her leveling up, right? Her, the role playing character, leveling up, and at the end of, I mean, her sneak skill is maxed out at this point, right? Her charisma skill is pretty well maxed out. Her perception skill is pretty well maxed out.
You know what? You know what I'm upset about is she got a new weapon this year, and we never even saw her get to use it.
Never used it. That's how good her sneak is. Sneak level 100. Okay, like she snuck out through the wall in an Imperial base, like GTFO. Okay, I mean, she is the most like developed character, like from a skill set perspective. Is it really that hard to understand how she? And she's a good pilot, right? We already know she's a good pilot. She flew with Hera. She was trained by Tech. She's a good pilot. Like, and they need pilots, right? I think Luke said the same thing, right? That they needed, the rebellion needed pilots, right? And why he wanted to go to the academy and everything like that. And so, which I realized was probably the Imperial Academy and not anyways. So this person is just griping to gripe, right? Like not.
You just want to complain about other people that didn't like bringing up the fact that Necromancer had to happen to save Kathleen Kennedy's worst idea ever. No, it's not. Necromancer was already a thing. Yeah, I bet he liked it in The Mandalorian. So.
But for the most part, 10s, 9s. I mean, it's probably the highest rated like user review breakout that I've seen all season. And so I mean that's the episode, and so let's kind of briefly talk about the series as a whole, because we have 3 years worth of, we just celebrated our 3rd birthday as a show, and we are riding tandem with the Bad Batch, and 3 years of storytelling has come to an end. So
we outlasted the Bad Batch.
Let's talk the show as a whole. What do you think of the Bad Batch?
I enjoyed it. It was a fun ride. I worry about rewatchability for me. Like, I can go back and rewatch Rebels and be incredibly happy with that story, and same with Clone Wars. Getting the satisfaction of season 7 for the Clone Wars is just, I could rewatch just that season over and over again. I can rewatch the rest of it also, but that season specifically, like, it was just so good. And then it obviously introduced the Bad Batch during that season. So I don't know how many times I'll be able to go back and like rewatch it, like, because I want to rewatch it, if that makes sense. But overall, very happy. Love the characters. And yeah, I just don't know until we get more stuff. That could be the bonus, like if we get more shows down the road that link back to it, where I want to go rewatch Bad Batch to see what happened, specifically with Omega. But outside of that, like, right now I'm good. I will miss Wrecker.
Was he your favorite? Who was your favorite character? Was it Wrecker or Crosshair?
Probably. I'm gonna stay with Crosshair. He got his redemption that I called from season 1. He didn't die, but he did get his redemption that I expected to happen. So yeah, that's where I'm at. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I've grown to really enjoy this show. The animation, and this is a topic for a future show, as far as like, will animation take over as far as like the primary medium for Star Wars storytelling? Because, visually, you went to so many different places. They were all, visually stunning for the most part. Maybe not Swamp Justice, that was just a bunch of brown. But, the music with the Kiners doing the music, it was incredible. The characters, the villains we had, from Rampart to Hemlock, with some of the other obviously smaller ones in between, and the character growth, like we talked about it, in season 2 with Tech and everything like that. Like most people could identify or at least attach themselves to a character, right? I attach myself to tech. You like Crosshair. And I think everyone, especially those with kids, and I go back to the dad or just parent kid growth that happens over time, right? And how caring for a young person changes you, fundamentally, and how these guys were just these hardened soldiers, and throughout this journey with this young person, they fundamentally change who they are, and that happens when you have kids, or if you adopt, or whatever, if you even mentor, right, a young person, right, like they will change you for the better, and so that's one thing I ended up loving about the show, and for as much guff as I gave Omega being like a MacGuffin. Batcher was definitely the MacGuffin this year, because she was useless except for that one episode. But the for as much guff as I gave her character, everything for the most part was entirely necessary to get to where we are now and have it be believable, right? Like if she didn't go through kind of this like ebb and flow of her character growth. Same thing with the guys, with the batch. I mean, there's the character development didn't necessarily feel rushed at any point. Like everything kind of felt natural. Yes, there's some time jumps and so there's some skills built off screen, whatever. But that's expected. And so I feel like for a centralized group, it was really good, a really well told story. And yes, they did use it to help kind of start to bridge the gap between the prequels and the sequels, and so trying to harmonize that story trajectory, but that really doesn't bother me. Again, having read the Bane trilogy, what's the word, the transference, there it is, transference of one's self to a clone body is not a new concept for the Sith. So anyways, that aside, I was thoroughly pleased with this show as a whole. As far as rewatchability, yeah, I kind of agree. It might be hard to pick certain episodes or certain arcs that you might go back to, right? But overall, it was a solid show. And considering kind of how much or how inconsistent some of the live action stuff has been, this has been a consistent player for Disney from season one. So overall, I'm giving this like probably an 9 as a whole, right? Like overall. So I don't know if you'd attach a number to your.
Yeah, I'd be right with you. I mean, I'd be like the 8.5 to 8.5, 8.7 range, like somewhere right there with you. It just goes back to the I would put like Clone Wars up there in the 9.5 range for myself, and same with Rebels. So it doesn't quite compete with them, but it is in the top of its. I mean, as far as animation goes, it's some of the best animated stuff we have. So, period. Not just Star Wars, just as far as animation storytelling goes, like they've got it figured out right now. So
definitely. Any final thoughts on the Bad Batch as we close this chapter?
I will patiently await the next announcement for the spinoff.
Do you think it would be live action, or do you think it would be animated?
I imagine he'll want to keep something animated, so we'll see. But I would hope that he kept it animated. You can do so much more. Like he could just do more stuff, and he doesn't have to worry about who's playing who. Especially if at some point she's going to run across people that we can't replace on screen. So,
yeah, that's the thing about voice actors is regardless of age, the voice more or less sounds the same, and so you can,
or you can get somebody close enough.
well, sure, but even still, like, you've got a significantly longer shelf life, and I'm going to put that in air quotes, as a voice actor than you might as a physical actor playing a specific character, right? And now, Indiana Jones notwithstanding, because Harrison Ford has been playing him for 40 some odd years, and Luke, Mark Hamill to an extent, even though they kind of they did CGI his,
They did
CGI the face. But for the most part, you know, if you're playing one character, right, as a physical actor, it's a far shorter lifespan. So,
speaking of Mark Hamill, he's doing Chicago.
I saw that or heard that.
$500
for a pop.
For an item, yeah. And I think it's the custom item that's more.
It is. It's six. I think it's $4.99 for a pop, or something like that. And then I think for larger props, like for a lightsaber, if you wanted a lightsaber signed, I think it's either $600 or it's $650. I think.
I mean, honestly, the popularity of that man is just incredible. He played Luke Skywalker, and then he was the voice of probably one of the most iconic villains in animation history, and not just animation, video games, all kinds of stuff. He was the Joker. So
fewer comic villains are more famous. I mean, I don't know. I wager to guess that the Joker is probably one of the most famous, if not the most famous, comic villain ever. So
yeah,
it's probably up there with one of the Spider-Man villains or something like that. But
the fact you had to say one of the Spider-Man villains is probably tells all you need to say.
That's fair. So are you gonna do it? You gonna? So I assume we're done with the Bad Batch discussion, right?
I thought we were closing it down.
We are. Yeah. So are you gonna send something off to be signed?
I probably will not for $500. I probably will.
Oh, come on! It's not. I paid $700 to have that signed by Ewan McGregor. And during COVID, and now that was during COVID.
I don't know what I would get signed. I don't know if it would be a Red 5 helmet, or would it be a action figure, or if I wanted to do.
Well, and then would you have it be Luke, or would it be like? And if you did a pop, would it be Luke, or would it be Joker, or would you have to do both?
That's just it. I don't know. If I did a Joker item, it would probably not be a pop. I would probably go pick something out that was more. I don't even know. I don't even know what I would go for. I almost said a prop, but it wouldn't. Animation props are kind of. It's not really a thing. So, I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I'd probably stick with something Star Wars related, because it's the whole room behind me is Star Wars. So I would feel bad not getting. If I had one Mark Hamill signature and it was on the Joker versus a Star Wars item, I would probably not be happy with myself. You should get
the Luke Skywalker that's misspelled. That card back signed by him. That'd be fun. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
The misprint. Well, actually, I don't even know if that counts as a misprint, because it was done on everything.
It was done on every box, yeah. Well, not every box. They did fix it eventually, but yeah.
So, but funny enough, that leads into our next closing segment, which we're gonna, I think, start to reintroduce to the show as we go through the summer, and that is our Fine Edition segment.
The fine addition to my collection.
So being, that it was just May the 4th, and everybody on the planet was having their Star Wars sales, did you, or have you, picked up anything recently to add to your collection?
I did not buy one item from Hasbro or the Disney Store on May the 4th, or Lego. I stayed away from all of it. How? I don't know. I think it was because I was busy at work, and then on Sunday was Toy Man. So I did pick up something at Toy Man. I only picked up one thing, since I didn't have any good friends there, we'll say. I had to stay at my booth pretty much the entire day, which probably saved me a couple $100, which is always nice. So thanks for not coming, guys. But at the same time, like I said, it saved me some money. But the guy next to me, I didn't even purchase it. I traded a pop for it. But I got one of these like awesome collectible popcorn tins.
Oh,
the
that is
original
cool.
trilogy. So I was not upset with my day.
Oh, that's cool. And that's got Return of the Jedi Palpatine on there, yeah?
Yeah.
That's
New Hope
awesome.
had Vader leading it off. I can always appreciate the fact that Boba Fett is the overarching guy in the Empire. So
that's
Strikes
cool.
Back, and then So yeah.
Oh, does it have all three? Is one side a New Hope? One
yeah,
one
sorry.
is okay.
New Hope.
Oh,
sorry.
very cool.
New Hope.
Yep.
Empire, and then Return.
And then Return of the Jedi.
So yeah,
awesome.
cool popcorn tin. I love my popcorn. It's not that old of an item. I think it's like from maybe 5 or 6 years ago now. But I was staring at it for like half the day, and I finally was just like, I walked over with the cash for it. It was like $5 or whatever. It probably cost what it did retail to get the popcorn inside it. And I'm like, here's $5. Like, give me the tin. Just give it to me now. I'm done. I don't want to stare at it anymore. I just heard somebody talk to you about it, and I was thinking to myself the whole time, do not buy that thing. That's for me. And as soon as the guy walked away, I'm like, here's $5 for the popcorn tin. He's like, what about that pop right there? And I'm like, oh yeah, have it. take the pop. I'll take the popcorn tin. All good.
Take the pop, leave the pop, leave the cannoli.
Yeah. Good. It was a good time though. But yeah, fun show. But that's my most recent acquisition, other than the Kakawau Phantom Disney 100 Star Wars cards that I binged on for some reason off Whatnot the other week. I did get a pretty good hit. I got a 1 out of 25 card for Orlando. Could have been any other character, and I probably would have been more happy with it. But hey, it's still a 1 out of 25 print card, and can't go wrong with that. And I did get some other good, like really cool pulls out of it that I'm very happy with. So,
have you bought any of those cards since then? Have you bought booster boxes since then?
No. I mean, there's like $100 for a booster box. I can't. $100 plus for a booster box.
That's cheap, John. Come on, get with it. Trading card games, that's cheap, man.
I know. But yeah, they're pretty cool though.
Well, and the
pretty good artwork on it.
Which oh yeah, you were showing me the one earlier of Scarif Base.
Right? Oh, that was Unlimited. Yeah, Star Wars Unlimited. I'm still ripping packs on that.
Oh right, that's a different. Right. So the Disney 100 thing is it's like
Disney
a Topps.
Cards are like, it's more like a collectible, like
it's like a baseball card
like
type thing, right?
Yeah, it's like a baseball card.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, the Star Wars Unlimited cards, pretty cool pulls in there. Haven't pulled anything like too special yet, but some of the artwork on those are pretty cool, and there's a lot of variants that I'm not interested in collecting all of, but
it is
hoping to get a full set.
It is taking every ounce of my willpower to resist the pull to dip my toe into that trading card game, because
I have a whole box ready to get ripped, and I'm like, if I do it, then I'm 100%. I'm already 100%. I don't even know. I have a deck box full of cards already. Like I'm already in.
That's awesome.
I'm in the game. If it's in the game, it's in the game.
Well, it's EA Sports then. So, anything else for your fine editions this week?
No, that was yeah, that pretty much sums me up. What about you?
Yeah, I also did not get anything from Disney because I saw the line was like 40,000 people long, and I wasn't about to wait to buy a sold out, pin or anything like that for $25. So instead, I was on the Lego website at 11:10, whatever, the morning of May 1st, and was trying my best to purchase some Lego. And I actually tweeted about this because despite I don't understand how Lego doesn't have the server capacity to anticipate the fact that nerds want to buy your Star Wars Lego. So just let us buy your Lego. Don't. How do we crash the site every single drop? I don't understand it. So once I overcame those hurdles, I was able to get my order placed. So I got the Ghost and Phantom set and the brand new UCS TIE Interceptor, which looks incredible. And I am definitely going to be clearing. I'm going to be clearing some shelf space somewhere. I don't know where. It might actually go right above me, depending on how deep it is, I guess. But they were running a $30 off thing for the Ghost and Phantom, which I've been wanting that set for a while. So that was kind of an onus to get that. Plus, we got our bowling money, for finishing DFL.
Oh, yeah. But we still got money.
DFL money, so it pays for all of the stuff that I got. But the gift with purchase sets were actually really cool this year. So there was because I'm not going to lift up the giant boxes, but we had the troop carrier from Phantom Menace, the Trade Federation troop carrier, which is pretty cool. That was a gift with purchase. They have a crinkle poly bag. Enjoy that ASMR. Just ASMR that right there.
Are you going to open it?
AAT, right? So Armored Attack Transport for the Trade Federation. So that was pretty cool. I probably will open that and build that with Connor. And then they had this really cool medallion or coin, which is probably not going to show up very well on the camera, but that's okay. It has this little targeting reticle that can swing back and forth, just like it does in the Death Star Trench Run in Vader's TIE Fighter. And so you can swing back and forth, and you can line up the shot and say, I have you now, and then completely miss your shot and then get flipped into space by Han Solo. So you can live out your wildest fantasies. So it was a fruitful, well, I'm going to call it May 4th purchase, but yeah. And so I know I have plenty of comics waiting for me at Altered State for me to pick up, so that'll probably be on the next Fine Edition, but plenty of Lego to add to the collection, to go along with my Luke's Landspeeder, my UCS X-Wing, my Coruscant gunship, and I think I have one other set that is like waiting to be built. So I am stocked full of Lego for a while. So yeah,
that's excellent.
It is excellent.
I do love my Legos. They're all just sitting back there, waiting to be built.
So yeah. So that's gonna bring our fine.
One day I'll get to the Tatooine.
You're gonna build the cantina. I was gonna say you're gonna build the cantina.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to take over the dining room table to have enough space to display it.
I figure if I get rid of enough pops on the other side of this camera, maybe I'll have a shelf or two.
Fingers crossed. So yeah, so that's gonna bring our Fine Edition segment to a close. Anything you want to add before we wrap the show up, John?
No.
Cool.
No, I've got nothing.
All right.
Just really, really, really good show. Felt really strong, Sean.
Yes, it did. Yes, well said.
Only one go on the opening. I am very proud of you.
I've gotten well practiced at doing that. So yeah. So with that, we're gonna start to wrap things up. We want to thank you all for listening. If you've made it this far, be sure to follow or subscribe to the show. Leave a rating or review and link up with us on social media. Be sure to check the show notes for links to our social channels. If you have things you'd like to hear on future episodes, be sure to slide on into our DMs. Also, I should note, if you're looking for guests, hit us up. We're always happy to join other shows to chat Star Wars. Be sure to check out the back catalog of episodes, where you're sure to find something you'll enjoy, and share us with your friends. Join us, and together we will rule the galaxy. With that, we're going to bring this episode to a close. So for Jedi John, I'm Obi Sean, and until next time,
may the Force be with you.
Force